Yeah, she was, I don't know how it came out, but she was basically saying, so because my dad got the messages, right? Everyone in my family got those threats, like, we're gonna kill him, we're gonna hurt him, and blah, blah. And then he reached out to the police, then they blocked my bank account, etc. And it's basically they helped me without me specifically asking for the help. Right? So that's different than me going to, let's say, my friend here and asking her, hey, can I borrow $1,500? I need to buy you a new laptop.
But for
That's
you,
me.
that's a bad thing. Is there like, yeah, I don't understand.
All right, super quick before we dive into today's content. If you are looking to become a truly high value man, if you want to become the best version of yourself as a man, the highest potential you can possibly reach in this human form, and you also want to have amazing relationships with other people, with women in particular, if you want to learn how to have thriving, healthy, passionate, deeply fulfilling relationships, then don't forget to subscribe below this video, hit the notification bell so that whenever we post a new video, you will directly be notified. And also like this content if you enjoy it, right? If this resonates with you. And then don't forget to leave a comment, anything that you find valuable, anything you want to share from your own personal experience, post it below the video, and I'll be sure to check it out and respond to you. And then lastly, we do have an exclusive Facebook group, which is also linked somewhere below this video. Go check it out, join the Facebook group. I'll be doing exclusive live calls on there where I'll be sharing some of the most transformational tools that have helped me on my journey, that have helped Leo on his journey, and obviously a lot more stuff that I'll be discovering that I'll be sharing with you only inside the Facebook group. So without further ado, enjoy, and I'll see you there. Peace. But my mom, she brought it up in a way like, aren't you grateful for the fact that they did all these things without me asking them to do it, you know? And then I was like, well, if I would have died, and frankly, this is what happens here to people, you know? They get robbed, they get hit over the head with a gun or something, and they just die. Or maybe even get shot and stuff. But then that's still my responsibility to take for this particular situation. And then oftentimes what people do is they try, they help out because they don't want to live with the consequences of not helping, like how it makes them feel if something were to actually happen. They couldn't bear that. Do you see the difference between like me asking for help directly? Let's say I ask my dad, hey, Pops, can you send me like $2,000? I really need the money. Versus my dad going ahead and just sending me $2,000 without me even asking. You see there's a difference, right?
Yes, but I think they doesn't necessarily just mean things related to you. They can also mean things related to him and your parents and your brother. It's like they are worried, right? And then they are trying to help you without you even needing to ask, because they know that that in itself can have a good impact on your next steps, right? So yeah, I don't fully agree with what you're describing, because it has like a tone, kind of like a tone that is, it feels like they didn't have to do that, but they had to, because they care about you.
But see, that's the interesting part to look at. Like, why did they feel they have to do it?
Because they care about you. You're part of the family, you know. You are his son, so he needs. Right. It's like an instinct for him to, let's say a truck comes by and is going to hit either you or him. His instinct, or most fathers would have the instinct of push you away and die from the truck. Even you're not asking, oh, Dad, can you save me? And you know, you die, I stay. Right. No, you don't have to say that. It's like, it's an instinct feeling, like, right? You know, it's like, I have to do things. It's the same as you're fighting with your brother. You're calling him names. You punch him in the face. Then another dude comes in with a knife and he's like, I'm gonna kill your brother. And you're like, what the fuck, bro? And you go and fight with the guy. It's kind of the same thing, right? I think it goes beyond the intellectualization of what needs to be done or not. It's just, you just do it.
Well, yeah, see, this is where I have, because of all the stuff that I've been doing, I have a different perspective on it, where Like, I really don't expect anyone to do anything. Now, that doesn't mean I can't be appreciative of some of the things that they do, but I'm not asking for it. And especially if something is done and then later I can feel like they want something in return again, like it's almost like I'm just helping you out so you can give me something back. That's something that I don't appreciate then. Does that make sense? Like, if it's actually done from a place of purely wanting to help, that's different than helping out and kind of wanting something back again.
This brings me up to this lone wolf mentality where you can just handle everything by yourself, or you are responsible for yourself. And I agree in certain ways that you are responsible for your life. You are responsible for the risks that you are taking. But in a way or another, we are socially connected and we are part of the same realm, like, the same energy whatever it is. And there are certain things that you do, even when you're thinking about yourself and take care of yourself, that impact others. And there are things that other people do, that also impacts you in your life. For example, these girls coming in and trying to steal from you, they are thinking about themselves, but that has a direct impact with you. And, I think even, this is just my perspective, even if what your parents want in return is just your appreciation to kind of like, oh, thank you so much, I can see that you care about me, so I will give you love in return, or give, like love as an appreciation for what you did. Even if they do ask for that, I don't see that as a bad or good thing in itself. It's just what they need. And I think because we are more in touch and aware of our environment, of what other people need and what other people might suffer, we are even more responsive, or we are even in a place where we should be able to identify that they need this, and I don't think it would be a bad thing to give them that, to give the appreciation or the recognition, if that's a word, I think I just created this one, of, this that, let's say, your mom asked, because she's asking you that, right? And it's almost like, oh, are you going to give me back what we did to you? Can you see what we did to you? You can see under the underlying thing that she expects from that. She's basically saying that we care about you. Can you see that? Because maybe, I don't know how was lately your relationship with your parents, or if there was like, all these fights going on, whatever it is. There is an underlying layer that she's just saying that, bro, we were fucking scared, of the situation. We called the cops, we did all of this. Can you see that we love you? So it's not even as much as asking for you to give them back, but it's actually to say to you that, oh, this is how it felt for us, But some people, they are not so aware enough to be able to fully express those things in words. Like, for example, my father, he's really bad to emotionally explain stuff, to come to you and say like, oh, I love you, or oh, I care about you. And he's going to show in ways that is just like, bro, it's super funny to see it, but you see it, I can see it, and I can appreciate for what it is, Even if it's like, just come and bring a small sweet from the bakery and give to you and be like, oh, here, I got for you. And you're like, bro, I don't even like this shit anymore. I can look at that and be like, oh, I understand what you're doing and I appreciate that. Thank you so much for this. I might throw in the garbage now because I don't want to eat this, but I can see what you're trying to do with that, Yeah, that's just why. Yeah, the thing that you were saying kind of triggered me in terms of the response, basically.
I mean, maybe this is a huge topic in general because it kind of cuts so deep, like really looking at who do we need to take like really looking at the topic of responsibility and what that really means, for our own life, for other people's lives. Because I think, yeah, a lot of time it's so, because we are brought up in a society where we try to, because of our own imprinting and conditioning, inevitably we're trying to get the attention and approval from others. Pretty much all our life is set up in a way where we try to do that, to get attention and approval from others, even our own family, whether it's our children or our grandparents, like doesn't matter, our parents or siblings. And so in that way, like I made the choice to take responsibility for my life fully. And what that means is my emotional content, like whatever comes up for me emotionally, what's triggering me, what's scaring me, like all of these uncomfortable emotions, that's all my responsibility. And again, coming back to what I said earlier, if the external world is only a reflection of what's happening inside, then it doesn't really then everything that happens in the external world has nothing to do with another person or whatever. It is everything to do with us. And because of that, I then say, like, if someone, let's say a parent, and yes, like you said, maybe biologically there's this instinct that kicks in, like I want to protect life, I want to protect my child. If they get triggered and they feel scared or afraid or whatever, then that's still not my thing to take care of. That's still their emotional content that they need to take responsibility for, if that makes sense. Because otherwise it's so easy, like, for us to say, like, you quickly end up in some kind of prison, in some kind of like box where you have to live life in a certain way to not like hurt certain people's feelings, to not do this, to not do that. Right? So it's very hard to see, to kind of, and yeah, that's kind of like what I do with my clients, to really see that, to take them through this process of then seeing like it's not up to us to take responsibility for their feelings in that way. Like they are fully responsible for their feelings, and to also see like where it's coming from. And that's why I think the topic of giving or loving or being unconditionally is so important, because the unconditional, that makes the difference between, like, that shows really where it's coming from. Is it either I'm trying to get something, I try to get approval, attention, or whatever from the other person, or is it coming from a place that doesn't expect anything? And whenever there's expectation, that already to me is a sign like it's not, it can't be unconditional. And usually that also means we're trying to outsource something to another person, to get something from them that we haven't given to ourselves yet.
There is a base that we behave from, and because we are not in this space anymore, I don't think we also should expect other people to understand that we are behaving in a different pattern. So for example, this is something that I actually discussed quite recently with my friend when he decided to also come to Ukraine with me. And he said, yeah, I can't go because my father has this heart condition, and if he finds out about this, I think he's going to have another heart attack and it can be bad for him, blah, blah, blah. And, I said to him that he can't live his life based on making sure that his father will not die because of what he does and what he wants to do in his life. And yeah, I'm like, bro, you gotta do what you gotta do, and it's your life, and you need to be able to live under your own premise. But I don't think, based on that, he needs to go to his father and say like, Father, I'm here, deal with that, It's like your actions has consequences, or have consequences in the real world. And people, independently of which path they are, or what kind of conscience they have, or sense of awareness they have, they are going to experience things in a way that is different from you. And you can't, you don't want them to expect that you are supposed to take care of them in this way, like make your life based on them. You also can't expect them to completely accept that you see life this way. What I mean by that is that your actions have consequences towards others. And of course, it's your decision to find out, okay, should I follow this path of freedom? And I'm telling this being one of the person that, like, my parents hate that I'm here at this moment. Really, they really don't want me here, but I want to be here, and I don't care. So it's part of my my decision. But I'm still aware that this makes, for example, my mom, first time that I was here in January, where things are not so as calm as they are now, she couldn't sleep. She couldn't watch the news anymore because she didn't want to see what was happening there. And that as much as, okay, if I die, I die. It's my decision. If I jump here and something go wrong and I lose my leg, it's my decision. But there's still impacts in real world. So I think that there is a fine line between I'm dealing on my own, but also dealing so much into your own that you forgot or you forget that your life has an impact in people that care about you or in people that also don't care about you. In general, if we all live based on our own individual wants, I think everything becomes super kind of, how can I put it, this individualistic. And that's one of the things that triggers me. I'm not saying that specifically to you, but I'm saying that based on experience towards this like really into you approach, where I see that there is a lack of empathy. And is that it actually triggers, maybe that's why this point is coming up, because there's one thing that really, really triggers me nowadays is when people are too focused on improving themselves and not also thinking about the society that they live in. So I think it's great that you want to improve yourself, but I also think you should think more broader. You should think in community. You should think in terms of there is an impact of you in life of the others. And I see that with a lot of spiritual people. And that was one of the reasons that I got really triggered with my previous boss, coach, whatever it is, because he couldn't see more than himself, He couldn't see that he had other responsibilities or he had impact in other people, let's say. I'll leave it up to you too.
I mean, this could be a whole topic, like empathy or living empathically versus responsibility. Like, I mean, this is a huge topic that you just cut open here. But to kind of give you the broad strokes, I think actually what I'm doing is even more aligned. I actually see the bigger picture more living that way than when I was so focused on, let's say, how other people are feeling as a result. I'm not saying I'm denying there is an impact. I understand that. It's obvious to me, right? They're going to feel something if they know if someone sends them a message and says, we're going to kill your son. Clearly something comes up for them. But what I do see is, like, when you're truly selfish, and by that I mean taking responsibility fully for all your stuff, and then you're being selfish, you are actually acting in a way that's for the greater good of everyone. Because even in this, you can argue that, let's say, your parents feel a lot of discomfort coming up. That teaches them something, if they can perceive that. Now, like you said, some people don't have the awareness yet to see that, right? So does that mean now we have to change the way we live our life? Or are we presenting them with another opportunity to look at things differently when all the discomfort comes up for them, by not trying to engage them in a way where we try to help?
Don't you think that's a double-edged sword, where you expect them to not do the thing that you underlining is asking them to do?
What am I expecting? Sorry.
That you are providing to them by being, let's call it selfish, that they need to experience, right? Do they have to experience that?
I'm not doing it consciously. I'm not saying like, oh, look at me, I have all the answers. Like, you need to go through this lesson. I'm not doing that. I'm just saying whatever comes up for them is, I understand that it's necessary for them to still go through. Which means I can still live my life and I'm not restricted and like, oh, my dad doesn't like this, my mom doesn't like this, so I have to act in this way. Right? I understand they still need to go through this. I'm not putting them on purpose through these situations. That's why I say whatever is out there on purpose. There's no coincidence. It's all happening for a reason. So even this is happening for a reason, which goes beyond the comprehension of our limited identity that we have right now. So that's why I say if we take full responsibility for our lives, what will come up is we actually start to be kind to people. We actually start to we start to experience grace in our life. We start to feel gratitude for no reason, because we take such good care of ourselves. And as a result, you will see we also start to take good care of other people, which sometimes doesn't look like, oh, this is the most loving thing, because you put them through something and then they deal with all this discomfort. But that's why it's interesting you brought this up. If you go broader and broader with your perspective, you see in the grand scheme of things, this is still the most loving thing for everyone involved. Right. And I mean, I'm happy to make this a whole topic for like an individual, because I know you have a very different perspective on this right now, which makes it so juicy. But I think that's kind of like do you get roughly what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, it's not that, it's not that I don't agree with putting ourselves or breaking away from these expectations of others, especially our family. Like I said, even the example that I gave with my friend, my advice to him was to just break away from it, bro. Do what you have to do and deal with the consequences of that, whatever it is. But I think there is still room for a more black and white, less black and white approach, where you understand the needs of people and have compassion to maybe the fact that they will never change, maybe the fact that they will never learn all these lessons, maybe the fact that in this lifetime, this is the maximum that they are going to reach. And the acceptance of that means that you can see it for what it is, and you can appreciate for what it is. You can appreciate when someone does something that it triggers you, and your first reaction would be, fuck you, man. And you can look at that and be like, okay, I see. I understand why you're doing this. Okay. And you don't have to put yourself first. But, that's why I find it a fine line, because I think each situation will have a different way of dealing. And like I said, my first instinct is to be like, yeah, deal with your life and, go through that. But at the same time, I feel responsible that if I die, that will impact other people, and that is going to impact their lives in ways that maybe they shouldn't have gone through. I'll still follow with what I want, but I'm fully aware that I'm making decisions, and that those decisions that I'm making are going to impact other people. And there is, even if it's 1% or 0.1%, there is a responsibility that I have towards that person. I'm taking the other route, but I'm still aware that there is a consequence of my actions towards other people. And I think this would actually be an interesting topic for us to discuss more, especially because, and maybe it doesn't relate too much to what we are talking here, but I've been surrounding myself for so long with people that are super, super interested in develop themselves, psychology, and doing this, and psychotherapy, and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. And those are the people that are, in my experience, that are so concerned about themselves that they don't create bonds that are not related to their own interests. So the amount of people in the self-development community that come and they are friends with you while there is something to get out of it, and they just vanish, and they don't care about really connecting, because they are not responsible for, your friendship or your whatever it is, I think there is a lack of empathy in a bit of what this perspective might bring to people, where they forget to see more than themselves, in a way. But this is probably a different subject, and we might be able in a different podcast to really dive deep and try to understand, pinpoint. That's the word, pinpoint. What I'm trying to bring here.
Yeah, the whole thing between empathy, taking full responsibility, and also our identity. Because I see kind of what you're getting at, and I have, obviously, and this is, a perfect ending, but if anyone wants to learn exactly how to look at this and to discern it and to know what the right decision is for you at this point in time, at every single moment in your life, this is exactly what I do with my clients in a 9-month program. So if that's interesting to you, if you want to take full responsibility for your life and to feel, well, not just to feel, but to really see how your actions, by choosing to do certain things, choosing not to do other things, is actually the most loving thing for everyone involved, right? And that is creating a sense of liberation, because then you are free to do whatever you need to do, what you feel like, okay, this is what I'm inspired to do, knowing it's actually also serving everyone around you. And for that, we have to talk about love. This is a huge topic, because we have to look at what love really is. Is it unconditional? Is it conditional? All of these things. But if that's interesting to you, there should be a link somewhere below this video. You can schedule a call with me directly, or reach out to me over the DMs on Facebook, and we can talk about this. But in any case, join the Facebook group. I haven't been very active in that recently because, with everything going on, and I'm planning on creating a lot of content now, and then I will be posting more amazing stuff in the Facebook group as well.